Hey everyone, Luke here now. As we're getting the review set up, I just want to say a few very quick few things I want to say to you guys is that, yes, I know there were no videos last week or the week before. No, actually, I think there was one video the week before. Yeah, I'm pretty sure there was one video the week before. No, there wasn't a video the week before. So yeah, we've had 2 weeks off where we've had no videos now. The reason about that is really quite simple, is that I was off the week 2 weeks ago, so I was not really thinking about doing videos. I was thinking about just taking a break, and then last week I was sick. There was a nasty bug going around, so I was literally in no mood to do any videos and not motivated to do any videos. And I thought, like, well, if I'm not motivated, then it's gonna look bad for you guys. Like, you're not getting me at my absolute 100%. But back now, 100% fresh and ready to go. And yeah, we're talking about Promised Neverland, the last two chapters that we've got out. I know there'll be a new chapter coming out tomorrow, but with that one, because there's no chapter going to be next week, I figured, like, okay, I can get these ones out of the way, and then next week I can focus on that one rather than doing all of them in one go. So yeah, there'll be 2 chapters today, and also we may be talking about Dr. Stone. Actually, no, scratch that. We are going to be talking about Dr. Stone in the next 3 episodes. We're going to be talking about with that series, because they were pretty good episodes, I must say, of that. But with Promised Neverland, there was some things that we need to talk about. Alright, so this will be chapter 153, titled Coward. Now, this is obviously a reference to the fact that Norman is being a coward, in sense of the fact that he's going against Emma and going behind his back instead of actually confronting her directly head on. Now, with this chapter, I kind of agree slightly on what some of the people on Control Chaos were actually saying, in the sense of that it wasn't as good as what it has been recently. And I'm not going to defend the series I haven't been enjoying it as much as I have been enjoying Dr. Stone. Now, I've still been enjoying it, but just with the way Dr. Stone is at the moment, it's just at a moment of hypeness with the way it's entering its final climactic arc here. But with Promised Neverland, it's kind of like, I feel like it's kind of dragging its paces here and there at certain points. But we'll see how it goes. But anyway, yeah, with this chapter, I kind of have to agree with them based on what actually happens in the chapter itself. But anyway, we start off at the beginning of the... we start off with the end of the last chapter, basically at the end of the, where, if you remember, Emma had just arrived and she'd just seen a plethora of the demons actually being slain. And we pick up from when that actually left off, with Norman actually saying, "It's too late, Emma. I've already done what I set out to do, and there's nothing you can do to change my mind." Now, the reason why I'm saying, like, based on what happens in the chapter, is based on exactly what happens with Norman in terms of how his response to Emma and Ray comes in this chapter. Oh, and I should probably also talk about the important announcement that was scheduled to come out of this chapter. Now, at first, I initially thought that, okay, it was going to be the end of the series. Like, they were actually going as exactly how many chapters they have left at the end of the series. But no, it turns out that that's not actually the case. It turns out that the important announcement is that there's going to be a live-action movie of The Promised Neverland. Now, I'm in 2 minds about it. Number one is, like, while I am happy that the series is actually getting more exposure to the point that it's actually getting a live action movie. On the other hand, I'm thinking, like, really, this is the series that deserves it. Like, not Dr. Stone, not We Neverland, no Promised Neverland. And also, one of the things I'm kind of iffy about is the fact, like, okay, they've got an actual 13-year-old to play Norman and Ray, but they've cast a 19-year-old as Emma. It's like, what is the point? What is the point of that? It's like, if I could meet the director and ask him, like, okay, what's the point of having Norman and Ray be the same age as they are in the manga, but not Emma? Like, what is the point of that? Like, that's the point I would actually ask him. And apparently they're changing the rules so that it's actually you actually have to be 16 before you graduate. Now, that I'm all right with, because 12 years old, that seems a little bit low. Whereas if it was like in this country, it would actually be 16 before. Like, okay, you you're at the age of consent, because the age of consent here is 16 years old. So okay, you'll be at the age of consent so that you can actually graduate to go out in your own, go out on your own into the world or something like that. But yeah, it seems kind of like a bit like odd that they would cast a 19-year-old as Emma when they've cast a 12 or 13-year-old as Ray or Norma. But those are my thoughts on the movie. Don't know whether it'll be good, don't know when it'll be out, but when it does come out, I might actually get a chance to check it out, and I'll give you my opinions on it when it actually does come out fully. But for now, we just have to focus on the chapter itself. And also we get a nice coloured cover page which shows Emma and Ray standing as Norman is sitting down above this wasteland, again reflecting his state of mind, and felt at the moment that he feels like he's alone, and he's the only one that can do this alone without Emma and Ray getting in the way of him. Anyway, so as I stated, the chapter picks up exactly where the last one left off, with Ray and Emma finding Norman and them going, Norman, before Norman goes, Emma, Ray, I'm so glad both of you made it back unharmed. It's a shame though, you were just a little bit too late. Looks like you couldn't make it in time, Emma, as we see all the corpses of all demons, everyone, including Ivek. Yes, Ivek was actually killed when I was going through that, the end of the last chapter. I was surprised that he was actually, but no, he is actually killed in this chapter. It's being confirmed 100% that he is actually killed. And we see just the decimation that Norman has actually caused, as we get kind of like the idea of like, he is sorry for what he's actually done, but at the same time he's aware of the fact that he can't go back at this point. And continuing on, we see just the horror on Ray's face as he goes, all of them, as Norman goes, have been killed. They killed each other. They're dead now. The Queen, the nobles, the Gearing clan, all of them. And Emma just gets the shocking look on her face of the fact that he is actually gone and done this. But also that could be interpreted as the fact like, okay, she knows that he's actually lying. Like, she knows just how Norman's mind works, and knows that, yeah, there was no way the demons did this all to themselves. Like, Norman had to have gotten involved at some point, and that's the look that she's giving right now. But before she can even compliment this, we just get another grizzled look from Emma, like, just the fact that, Norman, why didn't you just wait? And she goes on to say, Norman, I forged a promise. Everybody can escape here together. And we get the shocked looks of Vincent and Cecilo, but we also get like the look of like, from Norman. Like, he's not necessarily sad, he's not necessarily happy. It's just like a look of distance that appears on his face right here, as Emma tries to plead with him, like going, you don't need to fight anymore. Hey, starting now, let's stop with the extermination. As Norman goes to her saying, it's already too late. It's impossible now, Emma. The monarchy has collapsed. A monarchy that lasts for thousands of years, governed by demons, is impossible now. Peace is impossible for them. Ivek was the last one I have killed him myself. As we get a look of, okay, so no, I don't think Emma knew at that point that before that I just said that Norman actually did most of the did a fair bout of the killing himself. I feel like that's because Emma gives like a look of like, what? How could you, Norman? How could you do this? So no, I think she was just like shocked to the fact that Norman just went ahead with his plan without waiting for them, without actually waiting for the fact that she could actually make a promise with the demon god herself. But now, as we know, it's too late for him. And again, like I said, this is what I love about the series, but at the same time I kind of like feel like where Control Chaos is actually coming from, the fact that Norman at this point you can't reason with him, and Emma is like, no, we can reason with him, and I feel like that for them it's like this is like a downgrade for Emma's character. Now I still love Emma as a character, but I can see where their point is coming from, the fact that she's too naive at times, and that is a major problem with Emma that I don't think really has been addressed since Goldie Pond, of the fact that she's too naive to thinking that she can save everyone. But they're reckoning that the author is kind of like winding it so that it fits Emma's agenda. But anyway, that's their opinion, and even though I don't agree with them on several things, I can kind of see where they're coming from with that point. And I feel like Emma needs more moments where she's like, I have failed. Basically, that's the moments that she needs, and it just needs to smack it down to her, the fact that she can't save everyone. And if the chapter hadn't have turned out the way it had at the end of this chapter, I feel like they probably would have been much more accepting of what happened in this chapter. The fact that if Norman hadn't have just turned on a dime like that, like that's the problem. I do agree with them on the fact that Norman's turn from like being like just being like the antagonist to being like to wanting sympathy from Emma and Ray. That's kind of like a black mark on the series itself for me personally. And like I said, I can agree where Control Chaos came from when I listened to their comments on their Discord as well, which I'm still friends with them on there. I still think of them as friends, even though we have disagreements on the Promised Neverland daily, basically. Norman continues and carries on and says, "We've put a lethal fissure in the demon society of this world, a fissure that they can't come back from. The only thing left to do now is to shatter it." As we get this very creepy look of Norman, just like, "Come to me, Emma. Come to me." And again, that's what I love. That's a moment I love most about the series. How the author could just like, or not even the author, the artist can just be like, yeah, give us so many images that can say so much of what's going on in the character's mind without having to actually explain it to us in great detail. And again, kudos for them for doing that and for just like the angles that they give, like presenting Norman as like this big monstrosity threat when in fact that he's just as human as anyone else in that room right now. Before he goes on to continue saying, "All of the demons will die out. There's just one more push left until their extermination. We can't go back now. We have no choice but to wipe them out. Don't get in the way." And again here as well is the fact that you have one side of Norman's face basically covered up in darkness and the other side of the face covered up in light, again showing his duality of the situation of like he wants to be seen as a hero, but at the same time he knows others can see him as a villain as well. And it's kind of like, where do you draw the line with them? And I love the showing that they do here. Again, also the fact that one of his eyes is missing as well, sort of like giving that impression of like just like an angel and a demon on both sides of the spectrum of this character, and showing just how complex he is in this situation, how he wants to, and how I feel like he does want to impress Emma, but at the same time he knows he has a duty for the others surrounding that has built him up as this god figure and this like perfect being that can't do any wrong. As Emma mulls over and contemplates things in her mind, she just gives her answer and her resolve with a catastrophic "no way," as we see the looks of Cecil and Vincent of just like, huh? Which I feel like is the reaction a lot of people had when they heard Emma's situation. I feel like they were probably going to get more of a reaction out of Emma than just no way. I feel like they were going to be getting something like, "How dare you, Norman," or something like that, which it does come up, but I feel like they were probably just expecting a lot more out of Emma in that one moment that we got there. Emma continues on and gives her actual rebuttal right here, which is, "I don't get the point of war and slaughter. I don't want to wipe them out. There's no way I'm going to let you be more of a murderer." And again, Emma is not wrong. Emma is not wrong here when she says this. This is one of the reasons why. This is one of the issues that I can't agree with the Control Chaos guys on. It's the fact that they're just being like, "Oh, come on, Emma, you've seen the destruction and you've seen the destruction and you've seen the destruction and how the demons actually used you and suppressed you and used you basically for food and that, and now you don't want them to be slaughtered, or you don't want them to actually want them to be wiped off the face of the earth." Now we don't know what Emma's promise, like what her actual full promise to the actual demon god was, and we may find that out soon enough that probably what Norman did was actually much what actually made the situation a whole lot worse for everyone as well, not just the humans but also the demons as well. But anyway, back on topic, it's like I don't get them like that, but I don't get them when they say stuff like that, because it's like, okay, Emma, even though we've not seen it, we know Emma has seen it. We know that Emma has seen, like, okay, these demons have actually built up this society, a society all around them, and basically made this part of the world their own. And she's saying to herself, what right do we have? Yes, they imprisoned us and made us basically food, but what right do we have to take away society where not every one of them has been coming out to actually kill us and slaughter us. Some of them have just been actually taking our meat and just been consuming us. They've not been actually outright hunting us and all of that. They've just been living their normal lives. And again, that's something that I can't agree with the guys on, because Emma's logic here does actually make sense of the fact that sometimes war and slaughter, it just leads to more war and slaughter and just leads to more murder. And why would you want to have more murder and more blood on your hands when it can so easily be avoided? As Norman could do nothing but say Emma's name, Emma goes on to say, "We'll find a way. It'll be tough, but let's think it through. No matter how hard it gets, we can't give up. It's never too late." And again, this is why I think the idea of the fact that what Norman has actually done has only made it worse for Emma's promise to actually come into fruition, and it might actually make it worse for both sides of the argument, but we'll see as we go along. But again, like I said, this is something that I kind of agree with the guys on, the fact that Emma's just still trying to save Norman, even though to us it seems apparent that he is far outgone at this point, and there's nothing that no one can even do to actually save him at this point. I feel like they probably think that because he's so unredeemable at this point, that there's no point in Emma trying to convince him, because he's convinced himself that he has to be the angel and the devil at the same time, no matter what anyone says. As Emma goes on to try and plead the case, she's like, "I've decided I won't let you sacrifice yourself again. I won't let you go at things alone." Now, say what you want about Emma's character, but that actually fits what she's been through out the series. Even people that she absolutely despises, if she knew that actually she did know that Isabella and Crone were actually cats themselves, and even though she despised both of them, she still could see that. I feel like she could still see their situation that they were in and the choices that they made, but she wanted to go down her own path. And again, like I said, that it fits with Emma's character in the fact that no matter who's in danger, even if they're not family or no family, she's still going to save them, because they deserve a chance to be free just as much as she deserves a chance to be free. And here it kind of comes around the fact that even though Norman has done these unspeakable things to her, it's the fact that he's still my family, and no matter what, I'm going to stick behind him, no matter what, even though he's done these unspeakable things. And I feel like what he has done is wrong, and he should have confronted us. I don't care at this point, because he is my brother, and I am going to protect him, and I'm not going to let him just do everything on his own without any regards for us, because we're meant to be a team. And like I said, that fits Emma's character, and just why everybody looks up to her. I feel like everybody looks up to her as a leader, because she just has this bright outlook on the world, even in dire situations. Now, some fans may actually feel like that's a weak characterization, but I feel like in this situation, it's kind of something that you need in this time of darkness that they're actually in, especially with Norman going down this villainy path and being just being like completely gone, and the fact that Emma's still trying to reach him gives a hope, gives possibility and hope for him that maybe he can be redeemed, even though to us as the fandom, I feel like in our eyes he can't be redeemed at this point. Doesn't matter what Emma says, he's still done these unspeakable things, and he needs to pay the price for it, basically. As Emma makes her case to Norman, he goes, "What are you talking about? Didn't I tell you I'm not going anywhere?" But of course that doesn't work on Emma, and she goes, "You're a liar though. I can't trust you." As we see just the shocked looks on Cecil and Vince's face. Okay, see, this is probably what people were expected to see the first time when Emma went, "No way, you're a liar. We can't trust you. How can we trust you when you've just gone behind our backs?" And she goes on to say, "You keep fooling me. I'm not an idiot. Don't underestimate the family you've grown up with. We can see through all your tricks." As we get a flashback from Emma's perspective about her going, "What about you, Norman? Doesn't it hurt? You never replied back then. It must be so painful because you're so smart. You chose the reliable path. Because you're so kind, you shouldered the burden for everyone. I don't think you want to wipe them out. I don't think you truly want to slaughter them." Oh, yeah, I can see why Control Chaos was bashing this chapter when it came out, because it's like Emma's trying to bring her own self onto Norman here, and basically give a little bit of herself back into him, and give him that hope of they can escape without any blood or any massacre or anyone else being killed. And I feel like they were like, Emma, don't do this, please, just don't do this. But again, I feel like that is a realistic reaction of the fact that some people, they just hide what they're truly feeling by putting on a false persona, and I feel like that's probably what Emma feels with Norman at this point. The fact that he's putting on a false persona, and the fact that he didn't want to go down this path, but it was the path that he chose based on what he saw in Lamedy and how many people were being suffered because of that. But anyway, continuing on, Emma goes on to say, "You shouldn't lie to yourself, Norman. Let's talk this all out. What are you hiding? What you're so afraid of?" As Norman goes, "Afraid?" And we get a representation of him as this scared child versus his older self, as he goes, "The Norman in front of me now looks like a scared, trembling child." As we get reactions of Emma, Ray, Ashley, Cecil, Barbara and Vincent, as we get a flashback from Norman's perspective going, "I'm scared. It's true, I've always been scared. Strange drugs, experiments, never knowing when I'd be shipped and died, all alone. But I'll keep living and leave this place so I can see Emma, Ray and everyone else again." And this is from when he was back in Lamedy, basically in his room, where he had everything on him at all times, and even then he was still thinking like, I'm going to get out. And he goes on to say, "Because I had that hope with me, I couldn't afford to choose what measures I took. I couldn't afford to stop. I am strong. It's okay. It's okay. You can fight. You can win. Only a little more." As Emma tries to reach him, he's like, "Don't come any closer. I've come this far. I have no intention of turning back now." But Emma's like, "No way!" And Norman's like, "I won't let you." No, not Emma. Not Norman, it's Emma that says this. "I won't let you go this time." And again, it's just a battle of like whose will is stronger at this point, of the fact that even though Norman is scared and was afraid of the unknown himself, and I feel like that's probably what he's scared of at this moment in time as well, is that he's scared of the unknown outside world, of basically his entire family and how they view him, or how the people that he's built up to be viewed as this god that can kill all the demons and wipe them out, how they're going to make him feel of the fact that this is not what he truly wanted. He just wanted to get out of this situation, but the fact that it's escalated to a full-scale war at this point, he feels like there's no turning back for him. And Emma's just like, "No, there is a turning back for him. There's a chance for you to be redeemed." And again, everyone has a chance to be redeemed. Even the most despicable people, they still have a chance to be redeemed. So even though I'm kind of contradicting myself here when I say this, that some people have just fallen completely off the rail, but even those people can still have a chance to do at least something good before they die. Whether or not that gets them redeemed in other people's eyes or not, that's up to interpretation, up to opinion of what people view other people. And I feel like this is probably the case most with Norman, and the fact that he feels that other people's opinions of him will shift in a way that he doesn't like, and he's scared of that unknown. But Emma's reassuring him and fighting to reassure him that it doesn't matter at this point. We're together now. We can escape together, basically. As Emma pushes forward to get to Norman, he goes, I'm scared. I'm scared of the demons. I'm scared of the unknown human world. And I will be too, because I get the feeling that Peter is on the other side waiting for you guys, waiting to actually just send you back to the plantations and send you back to Demon World, or just exterminate you as soon as you enter the human world. And he goes on to say, I'm scared that Emma, Ray and everyone else is going to die because of my mistake. And he's probably having flashbacks to that nightmare that he had when everyone was dead and he just had the demon mouth right behind him, which was basically Mara's heart. I feel like he's thinking back on that moment and thinking, I don't want that reality to come to fruition. That's why I have to be the strong-willed person, even though I am scared. And again, he's scared of just basically failing everyone in his eyes. But the fact of the matter is that he doesn't have to fail alone. Like, they're together, they're a team, and they're not just going to blame him for all their mistakes. Before he goes on to continue saying, I'm scared. I see now, because I'm scared, I chose the reliable path. Because I'm scared, I've been doing this all on my own. Again, showing the fact that he's even though he views himself as a leader, he's more human than even he would like to admit. As Emma goes on to continue berating Norman, she lists both his positives and his negatives here, of the fact that you're stronger and more kind than anyone else, but you're just as cowardly and arrogant. You're not alone. Don't be afraid in us. Let us share the tough things and the painful things together, and the scary things. Let us carry them with you. As Ray butts in to actually give his take on the situation. Go, yeah. Stop trying to show off by shielding it yourself. Spill it all. And Emma continues going, you don't need to protect me. I want to walk alongside you. And Ray goes, your family and siblings are your friends. Don't be so reserved. We don't want a future where we end up suffering, no matter what the result is in. And you want that. You do want that too, do you, Norman? And again, showing like even though he's done unspeakable things, Norman is still viewed as family and as one of them, and he can't keep himself from being separated from them forever. And the fact that they're all in this together. It's not just Norman acting on his own. They're all in this together, and they all need to share the pain, all need to work together. They're actually going to survive when they actually get to the human world. That's if they do get to the human world. Norman continues on and goes, it's no good. You're already too late. I'm at a place where I can't just go back. You can't walk alongside me. And he thinks to himself, goes, these two don't know just what I've gone through to get this far. But Emma confirms that they already know about the poison that he used outside the castle, about what he planned on doing to Songjoo Musica, and that they also know about the experiments in the basement, and that they're not too late. Let's all figure this out together. Is it okay to be weak? If you're the real Norman, then let's lose our way together. Let's struggle together. Let's laugh together. And again, Emma just wants everyone to be back to where they were before all this happened, before they were all separated. She just wants the old Norman back, and not this new Norman that's basically going down the path of villainy every other second, before they go on to say, let's live together, Norman, as they offer up their hands as like, look, we're partners in this, we're family, and we need to stick together no matter what at this moment in time. As Norman goes on to say, this time, as we get just flashes of him just walking alone in a distance, and just having his younger self to keep him company without any friends around him. And I wonder what would have happened if Emma and Ray were dead at this point, and Norman just had to have the bearing of not just carrying everyone out of Demon World into human, but also the entire series on his own. That would have been pretty interesting to see that, what would have happened if it was just Emma on his own. But anyway, regardless of all that, Norman basically breaks down, hugs Emma and Ray, and says, I want to live together with Emma and Ray, but it really is pointless. We don't have much longer left to live. We can't live on. Help me, Emma and Ray, as he starts collapsing, and it says his feelings overflown. The reality they are stuck with is, and that's where the chapter ends. We should just hear coughing from Norman as he just falls to the ground, basically almost having a seizure in of himself. So yeah, I can kind of see where the guys are actually coming from with this chapter, of the fact that yes, Norman's turn basically back to the light was a bit too sporadic and out of place, and I feel like it should, and I feel personally it shouldn't have happened. Norman should have just kept the light. No, I'm in this on my own, Emma. I am just lost. There's nothing you can do to help me. I don't need anyone else's help. And despite you struggling, Emma should have kept pressing on and being like, no, we are going to help you. And it should have just been like that battle of like, just Norman, just let her help you, rather than being like, oh, he just turned right away. It was easy as that. After all this slaughter, after all he saw is done, we're supposed to just forget about everything he's done, and Emma and Ray are supposed to forget about what he's done, which I feel like is a bit of a letdown on the author's part in that sense. But either way, I still find it a little bit interesting, just the fact that we got to see the reaction of Emma and how she was going to deal with Norman when she actually confronted him after all the massacre. Even though it was something that I didn't like, it was still interesting to see. But for now, let's move on to chapter 154. Alright, so this will be chapter 154, entitled breakthrough. Now, not really sure what that's actually that's a reference to, but we'll just have to wait and see. But anyway, continuing on, Emma and Ray hold out the hands for Norman and they go, this time around, let's live on together. Let's get the caption that says, as long as the three of them are together, ... So I guess it's supposed to be, as long as the three are together, nothing's impossible. As Norman gets thoughts going in through his head of Emma's speeches, going, let's lose our way together, let's struggle together. As Norman, crying his eyes out, reaches out to him and goes, together, I want to. As they all hug each other, as again from the end of the last chapter, as we get them going, welcome back, Norman. I want to live. And again, this is a reference to Norman when he was back in Gracefield House and he was about to be adopted, quote unquote. But of course, we all know what it actually turned out to be. It turned out that he was going to Lombardy with Peter Rattari, and we get like him as a child, like a small child, 4 years old, right back at the beginning of chapter 1, where they were all crowded around the gate and they were forbidden to go into that gate. And we get his phrase of like, I want to live, because that's basically what he was thinking. Like, if you remember him walking to get that cup of water, he was thinking like, I want to live, I don't want to die, I want to live on with Emma and Ray and everyone else about me. I want to live on. And he was crying his eyes out at that moment. So again, this is a nice touch and a nice callback to when he was actually back in Gracefield House. Norman goes on to say, but it really is pointless. Because of the drugs we were forced to take at Lombardy, we don't have much time left. We can't live on. As we get worried looks from Cecil and Vincent, and shocked looks from Emma and Ray, as Norman is crying his eyes out, and he starts coughing up again and going, help me, Emma, Ray. And as the caption goes, he was always alone, because seeing his emotions, the words uttered to his friends, which is the title page, as they go on to say, Norman, before Vincent comes over and goes, what? Boss, what are you saying? And Cicero goes, he's right, you should be fine. You're the perfect sample from Gracefield House. You were the lone exception and controlled specimen. Again, showing just how much Norman has built himself up to be. That it was only inevitable that when they found out the truth that he was nothing special, not what they perceived themselves to be this perfect, immaculate human being, that it was all going to come crashing down on them and just give them basically the shocks of their lives. And he goes, that was a lie. It is true that I was by myself, quarantined in the house, but I'm the same as you guys. I also underwent the drug tests, testing experiments. My spasms has already progressed to level 4. As they go, no way. How could you lie to us like that? As he goes, I just wanted to be a leader you could put faith in. I didn't want to trouble you all and have to make you worry. Again, showing like Norman's innate nature of just wanting to be this absolute perfect human and basically shoulder everything and shoulder all the responsibilities that for any human, doesn't matter how perfect they are, that is just basically a large burden to bear, especially when you've got like, I don't know, 100 people that are basically following you into an unknown world full of demons, and basically into an unknown human world that we don't actually know what kind of world it is. Now, yes, it has been stated that it is supposed to be like our world today, modern world, but how do we know that's true? How do we know it's just not another facet that was actually made up to actually get them excited, only for it to come crashing down in an eternal Neverland, hence the title of the series. Norman apologises to them all before he turns his attention back to Ray and Emma as they go, so is that everything? Yeah. I'm going to ask you again, what is it that you truly want to do? As Norman confirms that he has no regrets about killing the Queen or the nobles, but if there is no need for any more killing, then that's what I'd ask for. Okay, so he wanted to kill the Queen and nobles. He basically wanted to kill the hierarchy. That was his original intention. But to kill all the demons, he felt like, yeah, that's a bit of a step too far. And again, that's probably the reason why the other guys have a big problem with this chapter, and Vincent has a big problem with it, as we're going to be seeing coming up, in the sense that Norman's quick turn is just a bit sudden and a bit out of character for what we've been established for him at this moment in time. But again, that's probably because it is out of character for him, like the fact that he didn't want this and he was basically just putting out a persona the whole time for everyone. But maybe that's something that they don't agree with, or the fact that they absolutely hated that direction of what is actually going on in this chapter now. Now this chapter I feel like is better than the last chapter, but at the same time it still has the problems that were in the last chapter, in the sense that Norman's turnaround was so sudden. But again, it's kind of a double-edged sword. Like, yes, it was so sudden, but maybe that was because it was the entire point of Norman in this particular moment of his life as a character himself. He goes on to say that I want to stop the extinction. The poison develops outside of the castle. I want to deal with the damage that's already happened, and also I don't want to have to lose everyone from Normandy, even that probability is low. One more time, no matter how long it takes, and that includes me. As Emma goes, got it, leave it to us, we'll help you out, it's okay, we'll figure it out together, we'll figure something out somehow as long as we're here together. But Vincent is having none of this, as he stepped forward and said, stop messing around. At this stage, what can we do? All of us are fine with our lives ending here and now. The demons being wiped out, it's our salvation. If that happens, we'll have helped create a new world. Didn't you say we can't back down now? But now you're not just going back on it, you're preventing us from carrying it out. This is just, I'll never stop, even if you try to stop me. Before Cecil goes, it's okay, Vincent, do whatever you want. Do whatever it is that you want. If that means stopping the extermination, then let's stop it. The things we've done up until now, this point will be enough. I really too hate the demons. They make me sick and I can't forgive them. I want to take my revenge, but you're more important to me than revenge. I'll follow you wherever you go, boss. So again, Cecil and Vincent having kind of like these conflicting opinions, probably a kind of representation of what the fandom has at this moment, that they're probably split on the idea of what Norman's inkling is at this point. I feel like that's perfectly represented here with the characters of Cecil and Vincent. How Cecil's like, look, do what you want, boss. I don't care. I hate the demon, but if you want to go, but you mean more to me because you've actually saved me and saved basically my friends here. So if it means that having to go with something that I don't agree with, I'm fine as long as you're behind it, boss. So again, showing like the complete respect that Cecil has for Norman in this case. The fact that even if he has nothing, even if he has something that's going against his opposite of what he actually wants, he's still going to follow Norman to the end. But Vincent represents the angry side of probably not just everyone in that room, but probably probably the majority of the fandom of like, how can you go back now, Norman? Now he's saying this, like, what do you want, Norman? What do you want? Now I feel the only reason that Cecil gave this impacting speech right here and now at this moment in time is probably because in the next chapter he's probably going to die, as we'll probably see what happens at the end. What happens at the end of this chat. With what happens at the end of this chapter. Now, the ending of this chapter, I don't agree with in the slightest. I feel like this completely goes against what has been actually settled by the demons, and yeah, I'm not going to defend it anyway. But continuing on, Barbara agrees, and so does Sassy, as Vincent basically has to begrudgingly accept that he's basically outnumbered at this point before they continue on and going, Norman. So first, the matter of the Lamberdy spasms, we've heard about them from Don and Gilda. As it goes into a bit of a flashback, but a bit of like it's in time as well. When we get Gilda going, Emma, one more thing. As Ray, I feel like is relaying what was actually being said in that conversation, as he goes to say, it happened to children experimented on in Lambda 7214. A certain test drug was found to be the origin. It caused lethal side effects and spasms. And Norman's like, how did you? As Emma confirms that Don and Gilton knows something, so that the drug was administered to the test subjects at Lambda and it caused the spasms in all of them. And Don's like, wait, isn't that weird then? What about Adam? And yeah, Adam is the enigma for everything. Adam is like something else in and of himself. I don't think he's either human or demon. He's something completely out of the ordinary. And to further illustrate why Adam is the enigma to everything around them, Emma goes on to say Adam doesn't get the spasms, even though Adam must have underwent the same experiments as everyone else. She said that. Oh no, that's Gilda. That's Gilda. So that I was a bit confused on why it said she said, but no, it's Gilda actually saying that. She said that he hasn't had any of the symptoms at all in these 2 years since he left Lambert, and this actually greatly shocks Norman. Before Cecil goes, no wait, that's just because his spasms haven't started yet, and there are differences in the spasms between us. It could be that it just hasn't happened for him yet. Before Vincent goes on to say, but you said not even once. He hasn't shown any symptoms at all since leaving Lambert. If that really is true, and Adam is the only one to undergo those experiments without suffering any side effects or symptoms, that means before we get like a little bit of a brief montage of what the other groups are doing. Jin's group went back to the news of it to the hideout, and right now they should be back there confirming if it's true. So again, Adam may be the enigma and the key to actually like, okay, so how can they actually survive in a world together, even though they've all had these symptoms of basically these spasms, and basically from what they're actually implying here, actually die from the experiments basically. So that's the case. Whoa, that is dark. That is very dark. They go on to say that if that's the case, Adam is the breakthrough to saving everyone from Lambert, as they all are like shocked by this revelation. And again, it is a big revelation. Although, like I said, I don't know whether I agree with this, and I certainly don't agree with it if it's like breaking some rules, as it's going to be shown at the very end of this chapter. But before we get to that, they go on to say, but we still can't take it easy. The royal family is searching for the hideout. The royal, as Cecil was like, the royal army is, and Ray confirms that they're heading straight towards there from here. As they saw them 2 days ago, they're most likely the troops that you diverted away. And he goes on, as Norman thinks to himself, Ray goes on to say, Oliver, Sack, Nigel and Julian should be dealing with it. They went back to hideout to make contact, but if that giant army finds them, there'll be nothing they can do. And they probably have found them by now. They've probably gone back there, and it's probably too late for them to find out, and there's probably going to be a mass amount of deaths when we get back to the hideout. Ray and Emma go on to say, you should leave the capital and head back to the hideout. Of course, we still have to deal with the chaos outside the castle door. And Vincent goes, and how will you do that? The people in the capital will have most likely already been poisoned at this point. Yeah, I'm not so sure considering Songju and Musica there. The royalty, Giran clan and Reginald houses were all killed by it. Were using that same poison out there, they won't stand a chance. As Emma goes on to say, it's okay right now. Don and Gilda are working with Songju and Musica to reduce the damage as much as possible. So again, they probably will be able to save quite a few of the demons if Musica pours her blood into them, and the blood probably is the antidote to stop this poison that Norman has spread to the actual real capital of the demon world, basically. As Ray goes on, that's what they've been tasked with, and they're all like, Don and Gilda, that means they really found the cursed blood. As they go on to say, let's split into two groups. Again, splitting up in a world full of demons, even though they're not dead at this point, they can still kill you, and you're splitting up again. Well, I guess it does make sense of why they would actually be splitting up, but it's still something that I really don't like in anime or manga in general, or even film or TV in general, where it's like, okay, characters have to split up to cover more ground, when they could just stay together in a natural group and have natural character development together. But I suppose it's one way of like, okay, separating these characters here and separating these characters here. Okay, we get, if you don't like looking at these, focusing on these characters, you can focus on these characters and enjoy their story and what they're going on about. But again, it's a minor nitpick, but it's something that really bugs me sometimes when you actually have to split up characters. Emma says that her and Ray will deal with the situation here in the royal capital, and Norman and his group should head back to that and protect the hideout. As Norman agrees with this, and they're like, can you get up, Barbara? Yeah. It hurts like hell though. Don't underestimate our fighting spirit. I ain't dying this easily. As they go on to say, Cecil, go on ahead and get the horses. Just bear with it a little longer, Barbara. And she's like, I'll be okay. can I leave securing our escape route to you, Vincent? As Vincent, even though he's reluctant to go along with Norman after what has been said over the last two chapters, he's still gonna refer to Norman as the leader. Although I feel like something's gonna happen to Vincent that's making him gonna want to betray the group for what has actually happened at this point. Before they go on to say, but how did the royals find us? That would most likely be as we see the Queen's body rising up again, and from what I can tell, a demon, like a natural demon face, like a wild demon face, just spurts up. Okay, so you have the body rising up, and then you have like a wild demon face just appearing on the body, going to attack Norman. As Cecil washes that in and says, "Boss!" And that's where the chapter ends. Okay, so this is the part that I don't agree with, because again, it's disregarding the rules of the demons. Like, once the demon has had their eyes stabbed out, that's it. They are dead, basically, and they can't, and there's no coming back from that. But now, seems like they're just changing the rules of how the demons actually forge. Maybe it's something to do with the poison or whatnot. I don't know, but or it might be something to do with the actual demon god itself. Like, this is all part of what Aaron's promise was, and the demon god's actually manipulating what's going on with these events by using the demon queen. Oh, but still, this is something that I can agree with them on, with the fact that they would say that we don't like this chapter, in the sense that they're basically going against what has been established with the rules of how the demons actually work, in the sense that once their eye is being stabbed or basically put out, that is it. They are dead, and nothing can change about that. But anyway, guys, that's it. Again, I feel like these two chapters, I feel like they kind of leave a bit of a sour taste in your mouth of just how mediocre they can be at best. Really, just average. I mean, I still enjoyed them, but again, those faults with how Norman just easily turned back to his nice guy persona after being established as the antagonist of this arc, and the way the Demon Queen is coming back to life, even though she should be dead at this point because Norman actually did kill her. I feel like there's some serious faults on the series, and they will have to be remedied in the next chapter, if they can actually be remedied at all. But anyway, guys, what did you think of these chapters? And as I established earlier, the next chapter, chapter 155, that'll be the last chapter for 2 weeks, because there won't be any chapter next week that's coming up. There'll only be the chapter that's being released tomorrow, basically. But we'll see how that turns out. But anyway, guys, what did you think of this chapter? And let me know. And we'll get into Dr. Stone in about 5 or 10 minutes time. So I'll see you then, guys.